But it's all right. We'll
I
figure it
really
out.
don't look at any of my paperwork because I'll get it screwed up with it.
Sarah puts it in order, and then I say, "Is that Gary's property?"
Just
I
to
don't know if
confuse
so.
him, mate.
Okay, we'll put something.
I can believe that.
Don't worry, I don't know if I'm gonna use that bridge though.
You just can't go south.
It's so
You can't
beautiful.
go south.
Did you figure out everywhere we need money from?
Yeah, well, yeah. I think it's just watching
Gotta be safe.
these accounts.
I know, isn't it?
There's no south.
I'm gonna need the attorney.
And I could probably leave one of
Our
those.
contractual,
I knew I was on the bridge because I looked down and saw the street.
I'm not sure
There's a gap of debt.
if we've ever really used this professional service line much of anything. Because
Yeah.
I had $1,500 in it,
Somebody sent one to him.
but I think for now,
What would you use for?
3 is 2 enough.
well, you see, I'm thinking that's where you reach out to
You help.
consultant, say, potentially develop or plan on parks or whatever it may be. But
All right, well, I've got the paperwork ready.
That's the North Carolina one.
Just before. I'm fond of her too. She is. Been a patient.
Okay.
why don't you guys tell me when you're ready?
You know where Mike's.
I'm ready.
You're ready?
I'm ready.
Commissioner, okay. Good morning. We're going to go ahead and call our April 15th Commissioner meeting to order. Just to let you know, this meeting is being recorded and streamed for public viewing. By participating, you acknowledge that your voice, image, and comments may be captured and made publicly available. For those of here who have come to this meeting, we've started another tradition this year of just getting up and saying the pledge. So if you would all rise with me to say the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for nation under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if we can get a motion to approve our last meeting minutes.
I move that we approve our meeting minutes for April 5th,
One.
as received.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. We approve our April 1st, 2025 Commissioner meetings as received. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. On to our business with an update from County Highway.
I have on the agenda, I have 3 bids for opening and read off the price. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and have you sign off on the lowest responsive bidder. And then I'll need you to make a motion to allow me to sign the contracts. We need to get this in for our grant from NDOT.
Okay.
It's good, we got 3. Always good.
Thank you. Okay, Pavement Solutions, Inc. For $1,832,572.43. Pavement Maintenance Systems, LLC. Hard like the other one was. Okay. Right here, there we go. And the amount for $1,895,595.56.
$1,895,595.56. I'll type them up here in a second.
Oh, I keep that. And then we have microsurface double. Well, no, that's not it. That's not it. That's you. Yeah, I know. We are. Is that it? Nope. Total project bid, yeah.
There it is.
Okay, let me see here.
Microsurfacing contractors.
Be 231, no, $2,314,744.77. They went to the third anyway, so. Yeah. Okay,
I'm gonna let Deanne
please.
at the end of the meeting.
All right.
So can we have a motion to accept these bids as presented and pending the review of?
Make a
County
motion
Highway?
to accept bids as presented pending final approval through the highway department.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the highway microsurface bids as presented pending the final review from our county highway and recommendation from our county highway head. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Is there a representative from United here? There is not. United wants to present an addendum, but they're not here to present it, so they're not going to get to present it, so they can wait. It's an addendum for the Steinmeier Road project. Scott is not here, so we're not going to talk about condemnations. After this, I will go over and speak with Greenfield to see if the building permit's been issued for the jail and prosecutor's office. Misty Moore, I did see back there. I'm going to bring her forward. There are some flood pictures here, Misty. She's going to talk through, there's some flood pictures within the packet. She had quite the event go on this last couple weeks. So I think we sent 10 triaxles of corn stalks down to Shelby County, so good times. Go ahead, Misty.
Yeah, thank you. Gary offered to let me come up with him since he was going to be talking about these things as well, because we're actually doing a training at his office at 10 o'clock, so I was afraid we would get into that time frame. So as you're very aware, because we communicated with you throughout the process, we had major storm on April 2nd that entailed throughout the night 3 different tornado warnings. Everything went smoothly as far as the forecasting and the communications with 911 and setting off those sirens. As we had that test, the statewide test a couple weeks before that, this was another opportunity for people to let us know whether or not they heard the sirens. It's a little trickier during the storms because it's hard to hear the sirens and they're not intended for people to hear them if they're inside, hunkered down, sheltered in place. So it was another public information opportunity to remind people we can't rely on the sirens, that those are one of the multi-level ways of getting communications about the sirens. But we did have some that we knew for sure were not working. So I think we're up to about 4 that are having some issues. The company, Federal Signal Installations, is aware of that, and we're waiting on them to come down and do the repairs. I'm sure they probably are overwhelmed all throughout the state.
Misty was one of
the
those, the
region.
ones I text you about.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. We'll be testing it again the first Friday of the month. As a reminder too, we stopped doing those every single Friday. I think the last 2 seasons, we've only done them on the first Friday of every month. Those were some things with homeowners that we agreed to because they have horses and livestock that would get startled by them. And we're able to test them electronically and be able to see on our computer screens whether they're working. So we opted to do that just the first Friday of every month. So going forward, of course, it kept raining and we had the flooding issues start. It created a lot of issues. It was one of the situations where we felt somewhat helpless because you can't just vacuum the water out of the county, but we tried to get ahead of it as much as we could. Gary in the surveyor's office was also getting ahead of it, doing the things that they needed to do to prevent. Some homeowners were also getting sandbags from us and sandbagging their homes and asking for assistance. We had a couple volunteers that went and helped with the sandbagging of a couple homes as well. Aside from homes, that I'm aware of, the homes flooding on the lower levels was the biggest issue throughout the weekend. We did receive several calls about that and were able to go out and do some damage assessments of those homes. Once we got to 3 reports, the state said, you know, you can declare a flood emergency. Doesn't hurt, it can only help. And that's when I contacted you all. So we implemented that flood emergency, which allows us to send all the information into the state and then hopefully be able to get assistance for those homeowners and also for all of our public safety officials and responders that did anything during that time of the flooding, or who still might be doing some cleanup now.
Can you share this is one of the calls I think Janine fielded, and we had a couple others that were like, hey, we saw on TV this disaster declaration, but Hancock County wasn't in it, but we went ahead and said, yes, let's go ahead and do that. Can you share that difference?
Yeah, well, actually, it turns out it wasn't a difference. That was kind of my speculation until I talked to them to confirm.
Okay.
Talked to them to confirm yesterday, right before we had the public safety briefing, or the public assistance briefing at the EOC yesterday morning. I called the state woman to first tell her that the state hadn't shown up yet. And then second, why were we not on the declaration? She said it was a complete mistake. She doesn't know if it was a timing thing as to when they pulled that information from Web EOC, and we didn't declare until, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. Thursday.
About 8:30 in the morning
Yeah.
when I visited.
They could have pulled that information the night before because it all goes into Web EOC. Shelby County wasn't in there, Hendricks County wasn't in there, but they were making those decisions, obviously. At the same time, she said it was just a mistake or a compilation of data at the wrong time, but that it was supposed to be fixed yesterday. So we should see the rollout of the additional counties that have been added, and we're going to look like we were just added. But we did declare, and it was put in, and they came to do actually they ended up doing it by teams yesterday because they didn't physically get here in time. But we had a lot of officials yesterday from the city and the county that came for that briefing with the state to inform them on what they need to do and the forms they need to fill out and send to the state to hopefully get a formal declaration with FEMA, which would then allow us to get funds to reimburse for time, overtime, resources, anything that was utilized during that time, and then also for the individuals. The threshold for Hancock County is $400,000. I think it will be very easy to get to that point with all the hours and the manpower and everything, resources that were used over that 4 or 5 day time frame. But we have to get to that threshold before we will even be considered. So I've made sure to tell everyone, especially the homeowners, this is no guarantee, but we're applying for it. And if we get it, then we could then get those funds in return to help them.
So the public can actually get assistance also?
They can, yeah. So they can go through the 211.org. They can either call 211 or go to the 211 Indiana website. So when we declared the emergency, it activated the 211 for us. So they can go on there and put all their information in. We can go out and do a damage assessment with them too, but they can also just go in and put that information in on their own, and it goes straight to the state. A lot of people didn't have flood insurance, so they're really hoping that this helps them. But again, that's up to the state and ultimately FEMA to make that final decision. I think the only other thing, and Gary, you might help me here, we always run out of high water signs. That tends to be a typical thing in floods like this. These don't happen very often. I think outside of floods like this, that doesn't really happen very often,
At some
right?
point, the general public should understand.
Right. Yeah. So we were trying to move signs around as different areas were receding and others were coming up, but it becomes a public, information thing to just remind people that we don't have signs everywhere. If you see water, don't, just turn around. As I sat and watched and took some pictures of some, I had people coming straight at me, coming through the water, and it was very deep. And I stopped them and said, you have no idea what's underneath there. Please don't do that again. So while we ran out of signs, it's a once in a 7-year maybe thing
Yeah.
that happens.
In my opinion, I think you guys did a great job handling that. I mean, the signage was about the best it could be. I think the troubling parts were at night. During the daytime, a lot of people
Right.
had the opportunity to see what was standing out there. The night was what was concerning.
Yeah.
But all in all,
The night was when it was difficult. And those are, I think, one of the rescues, one or two of the 3 rescues was at night also. And we did have 3 rescues. And you might have seen the drone footage of the vehicles still in the water, but the people were were saved and were rescued.
Those were signed.
And they were
and
signed.
water's powerful. People just have to realize it is powerful.
Yeah, yeah. And then maybe you can speak a little bit more. I didn't have a whole lot of information on the sinkhole, 234. So I'll just make sure I've finished and then I'll let him talk on that a little bit.
A lot of corn, a lot of corn stalks,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
a lot of corn stalks.
Yes, yes, yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I feel like.
Misty, will you put the 211 information on the website?
On the website, yes. It's on all of our social media, but I will make sure it's on the website too. Yeah, good reminder. Thank you.
Well, thank you again for everything you did. I mean, first we had heavy snow this year. Now we have this. What's up next? We don't know, but we're pretty prepared for everything, and you guys are doing a great job.
Long-range forecasters say something about a storm at the end of the month, so we'll see. But I do take claim sometimes to the tornadoes come to Hancock County, and then they tend to go like this. So
That's a good thing.
I'm going to claim ownership
We'll
over
take
that
that.
for a while.
Go down to Shelbyville. Don't come here.
Any AAR, we were slow on assaulting. It got cold at one point. So Misty said we did have signed areas, and that's, of course, where people got stuck, unfortunately. But those areas were signed. There was a cold patch in the morning, so we reloaded a truck and put salt in it. So we're going to keep a better eye out if the temperature's going to drop while we have a flooding event. That caused 3 of the 4 rescues. So
Any of the heavy rain caused road issues for you other than
We
maybe a
did.
sinkhole or?
NDOT had trouble on 234. Corn stalks clogged one of their culverts, and they had a large portion of their road wash out. That's what Misty was alluding to earlier. Though the road might be shallow, if we have a washout, you won't be able to see it. We did have some edge damage. We've repaired all that. Mr. Caldwell was good enough down south to take all of our corn shucks, so that saved us a ton of money. They needed to use it for pigs or something or other. I'm like, well, as long as you take it for free, it saves the county money. So it was a 10% event. I did use it as an opportunity to take some pictures of some land here. This first picture here is in Greenfield, just to the northeast of our library. Greenfield is going to have an issue with their baseline flood elevation rising with their new study. They're not allowed to model this. So Greenfield did fine in this storm. But if you look at their flood study, you wouldn't be able to build a lot of places or do a lot of things because their BFE is much higher than what this is. So if we buy this land, or if they buy this land at some point where all this water is actually being stored, that would help Greenfield a lot. I'm also in contact with Greenfield city engineer about, there is a rail bridge just south of the junkyard. I'm working with the historians to try to get a steel bridge to replace that. So Glenn Morrow and I are working on that. It might take a bit, but we'll see if we can.
The top picture with the field to the east, that's considered in the Potts Ditch detention basin, right?
They don't count it as detention. They don't count it.
Where is
In
that
the state.
exactly? Broadway?
Just to the north, just to the,
This field right here
yeah,
is supposed to be considered in the water detention basin.
but they
for
won't
the
model it.
ditch.
We don't have it under some sort of easement or some, I hate it when we use laws to change physics. A flood is physics. It doesn't give a rip about our laws, same as snow or anything. It doesn't care what law we pass or what we do. It's just physics. And I hate it when all this water is not being accounted for in their model. And so now we have hundreds, maybe 1,000 properties in Greenfield that can't do some development they might want because if they go over half their value, similar to jail and stuff, there just become some prohibitive legislation. They won't be able to do it.
Right.
So Glenn and I are working on that to try to free that up. Hold on here. Got bigger. But everybody came for the eye test today. It flooded everywhere. Like Misty said, at some point, every road had water on it. We're not going to put out 1,000, probably not 1,000, that's probably an exaggeration. It would probably take 500 signs to get every road that had water on it covered. So we're not going to do that. This is out by Amplify. The drainage there is working just fine. You can tell the tile on Fair's property where we're going to cross that. He asked us to put a grate on top of that. That will help that property on the top there a great deal. You can tell he'd lose a lot of crop if that was in the fall. Gary, I'm working on the I-3 game plan out there. Everything's torn down, but there is construction waste out there and there are concrete pads. What I'm probably going to do is just have them do a soft closure of that, just so people can't drive back there. Leave it at that for now. So we got that figured out. I wanted to, Ann's sitting behind me. We have 23 active projects right now, and a lot of this is on her. So she's done a good job with that. Let's put it in, Hancock County gets more grant money than any other counties by far. And if you take the Vincennes district, they only have 40 projects. So we are almost like a small NDOT district. Wow. So we got a lot going on and a lot of construction's going on, and that's good because the county has like almost, you know how we are. We don't have, when you look at the stack of money, we're at the very bottom. We chip seal. We don't get to do everything we want. Everybody wants everything, right? But we have a very limited amount of money. And, you know, it's unfortunate we got to say no to a lot of things, but all these grants allow us to say yes to quite a few things. Like there's a great deal of microsurface coming that the state's paying for a lot of that. And Ann's done a good job on these projects. I'm going to point that out real quick. That said, anybody that does a good job gets punished. I'm going to have her help some of the other cities, specifically McCoursville and Cumberland. But McCoursville, I'm hoping to get them, I made that too small. I'm hoping to get some STBG rural and some other grants to them. They're not able to, through the category 1 grants, they're just struggling to get grants. So we're going to try to help them out, see if we get them on something else. This map's a little bit wrong. Miriam and I went out and looked at the 9-Star property for some free land-ish for just people to walk out there. It's actually a really nice property, has a pond. I think people really enjoy it. Once we get this trail built.
100 South?
Yeah, just north of 100 South. Once we get this trail built, which we're building right, my guys are out there right now. People should be able to, once we get this other part built, people be able to walk back in that area. There's a little pond, they can go fishing, like stuff people want to do. Like if you live in a neighborhood, it's hard to find a place to go fishing with your kids because usually there's houses all around or something. But this would be a place people can go do that. Catch bluegill like we did growing up with Dad. Got to try to provide that. Detour's underway right now under 6 West. I'm sure the Facebooks are alive and talking about how stupid we all are, but hey, they'll be all right. Once they get it built.
And with all these projects you're doing, we've got all of that noticed on our website, right? These things
It's posted
are happening.
everywhere.
This is going on.
It's posted everywhere, but you know how it is.
Right.
No
We
one
just
ever
want
sees
the
it.
public to know that when they say, hey, I didn't know this
Well,
was
there's
going
signs
on.
physically on the road too.
Go to your website, check social media. I think we're doing a great job of advertising all those things going on. As much as they may not like it, we
people
are.
understand.
We are.
Reasonable people understand. We got to build it, and we're not going to have our guys getting run over. out there.
Exactly.
We're not going to do a full closure either, so one way is the way to go. But it'll be all this year. I live right in the middle of it, so actually you guys live in the middle of it too, right back here. So hey, we're knee deep in it, aren't we? But we'll survive. We'll get through it. My wife's not happy because we had to drive full all the way around to get. But it's okay.
Exactly.
Let's go back. It'll be great. I'm really looking forward to getting that roundabout in because that's just a straight up dangerous intersection.
It
6
is.
West and 3 South. It needs to be a roundabout. So we already talked to Misty. Chad's looking at Mr. Means' property up north. There's no right of way or even fall for us. There's nothing really I can do within the roadway. So Chad's going to see. He's got an 8-inch tile, private tile out there. So maybe there's something that can be done there. New Powell Bridge 120 is underway. That'll take about a month.
Yeah, they had it closed down last night when I came home, and they're already tearing into
About
it.
a month. I'm overdoing it, so hopefully we get it fixed all up. It's still a wood bridge. I'm using 1,000 tracks, so don't come break it after we fix it again. Life. 3 West to 4 West on Pincy Trail's underway. Marion's going to talk to you later briefly about this, but we'll be building that soon. Miriam, I retain all rights on where that trail goes, just so you know. I'll build it where it's best for us to build it. Floods in the previous week, Mr. talked about Milestone. We're still running that down. You'll talk to Kayla about that. Amplify, we already talked about. 601 Osage lease, Corey will talk about that. That ends in July. Just so you know, 6 West and 3 South will be a full closure on the 2nd of July, but then it'll go to 2-way traffic on both sides again. Obviously, we can't have a one-way into a closure. That, make sure I didn't have to go long here.
I have a question for you too, Gary. Town of Shirley reached out, the property that we're in the process of purchasing.
I think did we already get that purchased? It's already
They
purchased.
asked them not to mow it.
Not to mow it?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't
And
planning
they-
on mowing it, so that's an easy Easy way to comply.
They would normally mow it. Is there a reason why they were asked not to mow it?
No, they can mow it.
No, they were responsible for mowing it.
Well, I know, but they were told that they couldn't mow it.
Who told them?
Yeah.
I think it was somebody in your office.
Okay, they must have been mistaken. So they can call me and they can mow it.
Okay, go ahead and
I
mow.
want them to mow it.
Yes.
Because
They
we're not
wanna mow it.
driving all the way up there to mow one thing.
They wanna
We're
mow
already
it.
short enough
That
people.
was the memorandum of understanding, but in order for us to purchase that.
Yeah.
so.
So we, not only that, we expect them to mow it.
Yeah, and they want to mow it.
Tell them to mow.
Okay.
I was like, we all agree.
Mow, baby, mow.
We all agree on what should be done. They're good people up there.
They are good people up there.
But yeah, mobilizing a crew way up there takes us out of a whole bunch of
No,
stuff.
and they're happy to do it and want to do it. They were just like,
Finish
Teresa,
up the, just so you know, in a lot of this, the microsurface will be in there patching, the dur patching, all the ugly patching. We'll do all that right before, because it's a good time to do it, because then we cover it with microsurface, and we'll make repairs as necessary in these areas right before we go into there.
And this microservice is going to help the people from Countryside who are going to come in and speak today because they're going to get their
Yeah, I'm sure they want
subdivision
some drainage fixed and stuff like that. I just encourage them to come in and talk to me, and I mean, we're not going to play anything here. We get whatever drains fixed ahead of time. We're just going to raise them to grade, and we're going to dur patch with the ugly dur patch everybody hates, and that's what's going to go in, because you can't cold patch something that thin. It's just going to come out. But the good news is we just covered up with microsurface like a month later, so. So what we got, pavement solution, actually, for the contractors that came here, thanks for taking time to put these bids together. I appreciate you guys taking time. If any of you are still here, probably they all left once they saw who was a winner. It is a pain. Well, you're from Wilhelm. It's a pain to put together estimates, so I'm glad they took their time to do that and grateful for it. It appears the lowest responsible bidder is Pavement Solutions. I'm going to ask that the commissioners accept that bid and sign.
All right.
Sign it and then
Make a motion to allow me to complete the contract.
I'll make a motion that we accept the bid from Pavement Solutions.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the bid for microsurfacing from Pavement Solutions as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
And I make a motion to allow Gary to sign the contracts.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We allow our county highway engineer, Gary Poole, to sign this contract with Pavement Solutions as well. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Do we sign there?
Yes.
Okay.
Stick around.
You had a slideshow. Do you need my computer?
Oh, no.
Corey Taylor, would you mind if Mary Ann jumps in front of you? I want to have Gary just stick around just in case we'll get you out of here before your 9 o'clock meeting, Gary, but just to make sure that we're tracking the right way. And then Mary Ann Wheatbrock with Penzi Trail.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I previously sent, about a week ago, a lot of files. So a little update. We're really excited.
Somebody.
The Fort, I guess I'm hearing something else. The 4 to 300 was cleared by our volunteers last year, which was really exciting. And we actually, the Penzi Trails was able to secure some funding for the paving.
Did you get all the honeysuckle torn out of there?
I mean, they cleared it. And now they're still working. They're actually there today. They're still working on still cleaning up some of the mess. Very, very excited, and the county's gotten involved, and Gary is planning on paving that this year. Yay. So totally excited. We'll have another mile down. Now, when we do that, part of the purchase agreements with 2 of the property owners was that there was fencing that needed to be put up during that time. And so we had already previously engaged. We have 3 bids. And I did include the entire bid with their certificate of insurance to put up the bids. There was a chain link fence on the 9-star section, 580 feet by 6 foot tall. And then there was a wire fence for Riddle, which is 735 feet by 4 foot high. There's 3 bids here. Custom wood fencing, the total was $33,163. Twisted fence, Twisted A fence was $27,426.27. And a Mary fence, the total was $36,585. And
These aren't,
38,469.
I'm looking for the 17,000 and I'm not.
On the custom wood fencing?
anything's possible, you know, after a while, my eyes get buggy, and I have them right here in front of me.
it says 38,460.
Which one was that? The
That's
Custom
from-
wood.
custom wood.
I might have heard you wrong. I thought you said 33 when you were reading.
She
them
did.
off.
I did.
And these are all quotes that you're seeking grant money on to pay for these fences?
No, we do not have this funded. This was, I think it's on this section here. Custom wood, yes, it's $38,460. Actually, there's 3 on here. So we're only doing 2 of the fences. There was a chain link, there was a 2 rail, and then there's a wire fence.
So then that makes you 33,
Yeah,
22 and 10, yeah.
but it's still the higher bid. No, there is not funding available for this. This was negotiated as part of this property sale or exchange. There's MOUs. I actually included that in your packets also. Those were signed some time ago. And so then we want to make sure that we can acknowledge the winner to either today or soon, so that we can get them on their schedule, because we don't want to be having the trail, because Gary's ready to do this trail very soon. And the property owners, then it's, what has happened in the past is, just a little FYI, as soon as you put stone down, we already have people walking through there and it's dirt. You put stone down there, people are going to start walking. You pave it, people are just going to come.
Which of your bids altogether is the lowest responsive bidder?
The Twisted A fence.
Twisted A fence. And are the 2 bids that they're for the 2 separate projects, the 16,000 and the 10,000?
Correct.
Okay.
The one was 10,400, and we actually had these re-looked at. This one here is dated February of 2025. We had them update their bids because these were done over a year ago. And the other one is $16,979.55. So we have another bid here that are dated for just February. So they were just done again. So one is for $10,447.72, and one is for $16,979.55.
And how are you paying for the fencing?
We're probably paying for the fencing.
So there's a review of the funds. In the beginning of this, there's the 8666 Pennsy Trail Fund, which is funds left from
Can that fund pay
Different-
for fencing?
that fund can pay for fencing.
How much is in that again, Mary Ann?
$15,722.73. So that won't meet that, but there's some money in there. And then there's the 9116 DNR PBHCT fund, which is the President Benjamin Harrison Trust Fund. And that has $58,249 in it.
And we can use that one for fencing.
that can be used for fencing. It's not, there's no,
Would you like us to zero out the 866 fund and then pay the remainder out of the Harrison fund? Is that what we?
I don't know the logistics of canceling and making it a zero. We probably want to keep that number
Deb,
account. But
can we just?
Well, it just means it's depleted down to zero. You still have that fund for when you receive more money.
Can we deplete the first fund and the 866 fund and then use the second?
What's the second fund?
the President Benjamin Harrison Trust Fund, and that was because there was, every time we have bought a mile, we have received, I wrote, this is a different grant. This is not the next level. This is another whole grant I wrote. And there was a $200,000 that we were going to be awarded. Each mile we could be reimbursed for a percentage of that.
We've already established that fund.
And you already have that in your account.
But what I'm not familiar with, and you probably know, that grant, does it say that?
There's really, it's just a reimbursement. You're being paid back.
I understand that, but
There's no,
there's no restraints on what. you
there's
can
no
be reimbursed
restraints, no.
for. And I don't see a problem with it.
Okay, so you would be inclined, I think you'd want the fence, but to make a motion to use the two funds. The first one is 866.
8666.
8666?
How much money is in there?
Yeah, it's right here. The very,
Here it is, yeah.
There it is.
Then I would make a motion to approve the Twisted A fence bid at $27,426.27 to be taken from the $15,722.73 from the 8666 Pensy Trail Fund, and the remainder of it be taken from the 9116 DNR PBHCT Fund.
Second.
Yeah, so moved, right?
I have a question. So if it's a reimbursement fund, do you have money to pay for it and then being reimbursed? Fund, we don't have that money on hand.
no, it's already in your account. It's already in the account. It's already been, you've already received the check, it's already in your account.
So it's money that you've spent that you've got reimbursed for?
Okay, this was for the purchase of 300 to 400. Okay,
The mile, I'm sorry. I understand what you're saying now.
so then the DNR, once we submitted all of those deeds, once we had all of them together, because took a while, it was all, a couple years, but once we had all that, we presented it to them. They provided us the reimbursement, and then it's in your account.
Gotcha.
Good.
Sound, okay.
Until I have it in front of me, I think that.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that we allow the purchase or approve the quote from Twisted A Fencing for fence along the Pensy Trail from 300 west to 400 west in an amount not to exceed $27,427
Cents, yeah.
$27 to be paid for out of the 8666 Pensy Trails Fund and the 9116 DNR PBHCT Fund as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Okay, just a little FYI on the President Benjamin Harrison, I did get with Mark Becker, the DNR, and asked him what was remaining in that $200,000 grant I wrote a long time ago. And there is still $63,000 left. And so I'm going to be collecting information about their 1 mile and a half left to see if some of that can get reimbursed when we purchase that now, and what the logistics with that. But you may not hear again about this again until the whole thing is done.
Which mile and a half? The mile and a half from 300
300 west to 150 to complete that. So I
Okay.
asked him, I said, and so he wants to see that and look at that. And so we'll, more on that later, but there is some money left in that.
Okay.
Okay. And then moving forward. We'll get this, you want to sign on these?
Yes, please.
Just need one signature, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think Sarah will take that COI too. I think they already have one on file, but because we've used them before, yeah. I haven't.
Okay, so then the
Okay.
update. So then Gary has us, instead of giving you our $70,000, he wants us to negotiate property parcels. And so we are definitely involved with that. And so there is a little summary here. The Skillman, it's just going to be a land transfer for the entire parcel, which will include the bridge over Sugar Creek. The Philadelphia graveyard parcel is in the far back lot. There are no graves on that lot, on that parcel. The black parcel is at 200 West. Gary has pledged to replace their driveway, so we need an MOU for that as part of that. And so who do you want to write the MOU? Or do you want me to write it or you to write it? And then we'll have to have the logistics of what that looks
Scott
like.
would do that, wouldn't he?
The MOU?
Yeah.
And you say, what does the MOU involve again?
To replace the driveway, because it's going.
The land, is that what it is for the?
Right. When we consider that piece of property, it's on their driveway.
If Gary Poole was to do it, he'd probably say, Ann Scheidler, would you please do that? Could you draft something up for just our legal to look at on that?
And then Black has also requested that their other parcel, which is right next to that, be considered at the same time. So we are working on getting that parcel appraisal. So on the very back of this sheet is a summary of what we have to this point. The cost, and I did talk to Gary about this before the meeting, the cost of the appraisal, it will be approximately $30,000 and $40. We engaged with WSP under his direction. We signed the contract. They're probably going to add another $7,000 because we've added another parcel. They'll want that paid for relatively soon once they have finished their work and presented all of these parcels to our satisfaction. At this point, they're still working on corrections. But Gary said that the money for that could come from the TAP fund because the cost of he wanted us to outright buy the parcels. The cost of those is going to be approximately more than our $70,000. We could buy some of that outright. The other one could come when we run out of our $70,000. He said the money would come from the STBG fund, and I do not know what that stands for.
As soon as he's done in the hallway, we'll have him come in and share that. Could you do us a favor, though, too? Continue to quarterly, is that enough for you? Financial update from, and you from Penzi Trails on your grant fund status, what you're spending money on, so that we can just monitor that. We don't, we know there's action going on between you and Gary's telling you to do things, but just for us to have a glimpse of what Penzi Trail is still doing and the money they're using.
Okay.
Financials look like.
Okay. Yeah. Our commitments are very, very low. I mean, we're managing a porta pot at 400 West, which we'd love to replace with a vault toilet, by the way. But, and then we're a member of the Greenfield Chamber. I mean, really, that's our cost. I mean, I can get that information to you, but we keep them like to the trail. We don't, or if there are other things that come around, like the stuff at 400 West, all the signs and things like that was for a specific grant related to just that. And so, yeah. So yeah, we can do that.
Gary, Mary Ann had a question on a fund that you told her that potentially
What does
we would use
STBG
to pay
stand
for.
That's my standard transportation bridge grant
Okay.
Standard transportation.
and bridge grants. They're my cookie cutter. I have a DES number for the trail between 300 and 150, so I have federal aid on that, so. Because you know me, I don't like to buy all of anything. I want to save you guys money.
Thank you.
So Mary Ann, get with Paul, because you want to talk about moving that trail on the north side. I want you to get with Paul or Dwayne. They're out there right now and talk to them about that.
I have, and I will again.
Okay.
I've already had them out there. So, so Gary has directed that when I finally get all these parcels together to what I feel like they should be, and I've already had Miriam look at the one because they did some work on the parcels before we ever presented it to WSP. We made sure it was clean when we sent it to them. And she's verified the one that it was in question. Then when we have all this together, when I feel like it's right, then I will send it to Scott. And then Scott will need to look at that so that we can move forward on the purchase.
Okay. Anything else? I mean, it sounds like we're, okay.
So then,
Then I asked Ann if she would draft an MOU. Potentially, Mary Ann had an MOU that needed to be meted, that she needed to be done, that involved a driveway. And I said, if I was Gary Poole, I'd probably ask Ann Scheidler to do that. So she graciously,
She was voluntold. Excellent.
she graciously,
Or the bosses.
she graciously did
200
that.
West, okay, I was confused.
yes,
Gotcha.
200 West. Okay.
But she's going to get to Scott, and Scott will take a look at it.
And then when we do present this, we do need to be very careful because we've not done this before. We are going to buy this property and we're going to have it for as short of a period of time as possible. And then we're going to quit claim it to you. So I'm talking about, 1 day, 2 days, whatever, very short period of time. Because we don't want to be responsible for, we don't own property. And so then we want to be able to do this in a short period of time. We're going to need the county to insure it as soon as possible.
Okay.
All right.
Quick claim done quickly. Once you own it, we can do a quick claim.
Yep.
Okay, then those can be, what do you call it, developed by who?
By Hancock County. Okay.
All right, thank
Just like the
you.
one we're doing this year.
Thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks for
Gary.
your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have drainage training. Is anyone else?
Corey Taylor.
Good morning. Just a quick update. I apologize for the noise. They're moving material in the hallway. It's not conducive to rolling pallets across, so I apologize for the noise. 601 West Osage, Mr. Pardue has removed the vehicles. They are down to 5 vehicles. I know that lease is set to expire. He did have some questions about repairing some garage doors. Didn't know what your thoughts were on that. Just if we're not going to extend the lease, I don't really see putting money into.
We're not going to do that, are we?
I didn't think we were.
I didn't either.
I was going to say, what are your,
County Highway has no real significant needs
I
to
mean,
have
were
that.
the doors, did he damage the doors or?
The building needs to come down.
Oh, okay.
The springs are just worn out.
yeah.
When we take that building over, my suggestion would be to knock that building down. It's in rough shape.
So it sounds like the consensus is between us that we won't renew and that he probably needs to be, shared that information so he can get himself prepared too.
Yeah.
Is that information I share? Is that information Scott needs to share?
I don't know if do we need to send that in any kind of certified letter or?
I think just to handle it the right way, we would send a letter advising.
That's probably a really good
And
idea.
the sooner the better, probably.
Right, so he can get his situation taken care of. I mean, I know he moved quite a few vehicles off that property, and I don't know what's inside that, but it's gonna take him some, yeah.
Is that a bad smile or?
That was a very bad smile.
So is that something I need to do, or is that something Scott will do?
Well, it sounds like Scott will draft a letter for us,
Yeah.
and we'll send a certified out to him to let him know.
Okay. Update on prosecutor's office. I did receive a text message from the psych, GC that the safe offs have begun. So they're just going through, getting the building ready for construction. So hopefully prosecutor's office will move fairly quickly. They do have the job trailer out there. They're gonna get some power to that, and then hopefully this stuff will start fairly soon.
And Gary's going to go over to Greenfield to see if those permits have been released.
Oh, excellent. Okay,
He said he was going there next.
okay.
Will you do kind of a daily walkthrough or a?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Yep. IT offices are just about done. Should be seeing the final payments come through for that. I think the hiccup with the smoke detector has been taken care of. They should be able to close that out. Hopefully, I'm guessing here within the next week.
Okay, great.
Are you aware, did they get their furniture ordered or for the IT department? Don't know.
I know there was some question about that. I had asked Bernard just to get with Deborah and find out what he needed to do, because I didn't want to give him the wrong advice or tell him what he needed to do.
He is, and he sent, I don't know if he sent everybody those, but he sent the furniture, the furniture request.
I was in his office and saw it.
Yeah,
It's nothing over the top, or
no, it's pretty reasonable.
I thought so too.
Send it to?
Oh, he just sent it to me, and I should have sent it out to
Okay,
everybody.
no big deal.
Okay, I was in his
I just-
office and saw the hard copies.
I
of
didn't want to
it,
miss
so.
something.
Hang on.
Very easy to do.
The last thing I've got is, I've got some documentation that I want you guys to review. Was just given this stuff from Sheriff Burkhart on the building next door.
Okay.
There's some issues that we had to look at, but there's some documentation that you guys will want to review and then
Okay.
advise me how to move forward.
Which building, which building?
Community corrections, the old
Okay.
jail.
So where are we at on, have we got any bids back on the roof yet? Or are we replacing the whole roof or
This is part of that.
this is part of that? Okay.
Yep.
Are you going to email it out or?
Sarah has copies of it,
Very good, okay.
and I will email it as well.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. If you guys would review that, though, I'd appreciate it. And then
Okay.
just advise me how to proceed.
Do you need it reviewed today or just this week?
Probably fairly quickly, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's all
So
I've
we can
got.
all review it and respond in an email back to you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Corey.
I don't see Kayla.
I don't either.
Got Amanda Edwards back. Lisa just walked in.
Are you going to do some action items?
Let's do a couple action items here before we move on.
Make a motion to approve claims and payroll.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. We approve claims and payroll as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Make a motion to sign the Brentwood contract.
Well, the Brentwood contract Scott has, and he's got some, they sent back.
Excuse me. Yes, I spoke to Bill about this last. So I sent them requested revisions. I haven't heard back, but a couple of these, I think that you approved. One of them was they had in the contract $20,000 as a transfer fee. For example, if we terminate our agreement with them, we'd have to pay them $20,000 to transfer. Not appropriate. Maybe $2,500 for some administrative costs associated with that. There were a couple other provisions. We want a 60-day notice period, not 120 days. And I sent all that out to them. I'm waiting. But I'd spoken to Bill.
I saw your,
Things I thought would be, non-starters for you guys. Those need to be changed.
I saw your email.
Yeah,
Good.
there was, you sent an email.
There was a response yesterday, and it says, our legal counsel's made some changes to the agreement. Please take a look at it and let us know if that's acceptable.
Did you receive it?
No, I don't know. Oh, Sarah's getting it for me.
No, because we kind of need to get that executed. It's been
Well, they
since
need
March,
to-
over a month, so.
I mean, I think that they addressed they changed it to $2,500, the transfer fee.
That's good.
And I think they changed the termination
did.
within 30 days.
And then the other thing was just jurisdiction for Hancock County.
Right. And the limited liability cap they raised to 5 million.
So these are acceptable.
Those are,
Okay.
that's our standard,
Okay.
that 5
Yeah.
million anyway.
So that's great.
So do we have a copy of their newest then? He's got, okay.
Probably in the very back.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Well,
I make a motion that we.
Already did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Did I second it?
I don't think so. We
I'll
stopped and talked
second.
about it.
It's been moved
Okay.
and seconded. We approve the signing of the Brentwood insurance contract as presented with the new edits to it. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
So I'll either make these changes formally or they will. And
Yeah,
I'll
this is
give
it.
to
We
you
have
for
it, don't we?
signature.
Yeah, we got it right here.
Oh, you do?
Yep, right
We
here.
have the document with the changes
Oh, they
here.
did put them in. Okay.
It does have the changes? Okay.
Attach that email.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna see if it's just you signing it, Bill. It's just
Lord
you.
Sultan.
Here's your first one.
Okay,
It's just your bill.
He has to pay for all of it.
that's right. Well, that is signed.
Okay.
And then Kayla's not here, so Brent and
Brent's here.
Lisa.
Lisa's here.
Brent Eaton and Lisa Lofgreen, do you guys want to come on up and?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I'm Daniel Vaughn. I'm the president of Mount Con, Indiana. We currently work with Lisa in her office on Title 4D reimbursement claims. Basically, what we do on a monthly basis is we identify the dollars that they spend on Title 4D, and then the county is reimbursed 66 cents on every dollar for everything that we find. And we've been doing this, I think, for almost 10 years with Lisa in her office. We've reached out to Brent and his office to help do the same thing with the prosecutor's office. And this brings in, again, money directly into the general fund, unrestricted in its use. And our fee is usually paid out of a county incentive fund, which is a fund set up strictly for Title 40 services. So the general fund would not pay our fee. it would come directly out of an incentive fund designed for that. Since we're already working with Lisa and we wanted to add on the prosecutor's office, the proposal we have is to lower her fee. She's currently at $750 a month, down to $650 a month, and bring the prosecutor's office in at that same fee. And the reason for that is, and we work with the auditor's office, they help us with gathering some of the payroll information and do a phenomenal job. So there's some efficiencies built in that we feel like we can lower the price for our services on this.
I just don't, because I know that we do our cost allocation plan and we get reimbursement from the contract that I have already.
You do.
With that.